Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 77 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. It's me, it's Mark. I'm fully vaccinated now, and, things are reopening here, mainly movie theaters, and I'm excited. Before I jump into everything else, I just got to tell you, when it comes, the main topic, 100%, is me trying to figure out what movie I want to see first, because that has been weighing on my mind for the last 72 hours. I've just been like, what is the first movie that I'm going to watch? What am I going to go after over a year of not seeing anything? What am I going to sit down and just watch and love and enjoy? And there's a lot of options. So that's the main topic. I'm just going to go over my options and try and narrow it down to at least two, if not one movie that I'm going to see first. But thankfully, thanks to my work schedule, I've been working a lot, even though I've been getting overtime, but just how the planets have aligned, I'm actually current with my comic books, and I've actually been having a little bit of time to dabble in video games. So obviously we're going to have the staples segments where I'm going to talk about the new comics I picked up, because now I'm finally current with everything that I've been picking up. I also found some stuff at Goodwill and for comics, which was, I couldn't say no to picking up, and just, a few games still plugging away at that backlog of games. It's going to take forever, I feel like, especially with new games coming out, like the Mass Effect trilogy, the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect. That's, on my list. There's just, a lot of stuff going on. So let's not waste any time. Let's just start everything off and go over the comic books, because there wasn't that many, but they're definitely comics I needed. Obviously, we knew this was going to happen. More Power Ranger stuff. So I got the Legacy cover, which just says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 68, and that, which is technically Mighty Morphin number 7. Story arcs are getting really good in that. I plan on sitting down and doing some comic book reviews on my weekend off. I'm going to sit down and finally chip away at the trades and the story arcs that I've been wanting to review. I just haven't had time to do so. Another issue, this is what I'm really excited for. The Miles Morales Spider-Man, the Clone Saga, finally started. This is something I'm just like, I can't wait. Miles Morales Spider-Man has been kind of my staple Marvel pull outside of Thor. And yeah, so I'm really excited for the Clone Saga to start. I have not read any of these yet, but I will be reading them over the weekend. And then issue number 6 of Crossover. It wouldn't be a comic book section if I didn't bring up a Donny Cates comic. That seems to be the trend of when I usually pick up my comics. There's always something Donny Cates in there, or Hickman, or Higgins, or Ryan Parrott. Like, I have my go-to writers, obviously. So yeah, that's it for like new. Now I'm current. Like I briefly mentioned, so my lady goes to Goodwill a lot. She always finds treasure, and she was like, hey, they got a bunch of comic books, you should head over here and look. And the one thing about Goodwill, sometimes they'll have comic books unboarded, unbagged, just stacked up in the book section, and it pains me to even go look at them. But sometimes if they have stuff that's boarded and bagged in sets, they'll organize them by sets and by names and put them in bags, staple them shut, and put a price on them. I saw a price tag that was, I think, like $2.99, and all it said was Archie Comics Jughead. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab them, because I saw the first cover issue, and it was actually Jughead the Hunger versus Vampironica, but it was the first 3 issues. So I have issue 3, and then we have this nice Archie Home Videos VHS variant for number 1. And then we have issue number 2, which is Vampironica with a severed head of Jughead the Hunger. I do like the Archie horror stuff. I never got into Jughead the Hunger. So I was like, oh, first 3 issues? Yeah, why not? And I'm excited to check those out, because, I love Archie comics. I'm a big Archie fan. I like some of the crossovers, like Archie vs. Predator. They did the crossover with Sabrina. Like, I just enjoy Archie comics. And the next thing I found, and I was just like, ooh, this is nice. I found the Action Comics 1000. And this is the 1990s variant by Dan Jurgens, and with Kevin Nolan and Alex Sinclair. And I was like, you know what? I don't have that Action Comics cover. And for $2.99, I was like, that's a steal. I checked it out. Everything, it hasn't been read. It hasn't been touched because, you know, it's a thicker bound comic because of how many pages there are on it. And I noticed it hasn't been read because the second you open one of those, you could see there's a crease. So this one was basically purchased, either already board and bagged or they boarded and bagged it instantly. It's never been read because there's no indication that the front cover has even been opened. So I was like, $2.99, I want it. There was a Detective Comics 1000 also for $2.99, and it was the 60s variant, but I have that. I have most of the Detective Comic ones that I like, so I was like, I'm not going to get it. I already have it. What if in the off chance, you know, there's a young kid or something with their parent, and they see that, and they pick it up, and now, you know, that got them into comics, because I get that. I get that situation for how you get your first comic book that gets you into comics. So I was like, I'll leave it. I don't need it. I'm not going to resell it. I already have a copy. So that's it for comics. The fact that like I'm current right now is very exciting because I've been like at least a week or two behind for what seems like a couple months now. If you've listened to the podcast, you know, consistently you've noticed there's been weeks where I don't talk about comics because I didn't have time to pick them up. But I'm actually current, and this podcast will be going live on Monday because it's the weekend. So basically, I'm going to pick up my new comics this week as well. So I'm being a really good comic book fan and reader by getting my comics in a timely manner, and it's actually entertaining. So that's it for comics. Let's also, from a standpoint of not new acquisitions but things I'm rereading, I did start rereading Invincible because I never finished it. I started it. I am rereading those because I'm curious. I haven't watched the Amazon show yet. All my friends are like, yo, you gotta check out Invincible, it's great, this, that. I'm like, well, I have the comics, I'll check them out. That's what I've been doing from a reading standpoint anyways. So that's it for comic books and video games. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not been playing a lot of video games. I've been trying. I'm still plugging away at Octopath Traveler on the Nintendo Switch. That has, I think, up to like 60 hours in that game. I've been grinding that game, and the last time I talked about it, I was maybe like 12 to 15 hours in. So a lot of my free time, like I'll put maybe like 2-3 hours in a day. Not even actually, like maybe 2 hours. But then when I was laid up after my second vaccine shot, I was pretty sick. I was in bed, but like I was putting a lot of hours in that like 3-day time span of not having work and just being exhausted and not feeling 100%. So I put a lot of hours in that regards. Other than that, it's like I'll chip away an hour or two here, grind a bit, continue the story, try and go through dungeons, get my equipment. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm mad I waited so long to play it, but yeah. And then Pokemon Snap, I'm still going through to finish the photo decks and make sure I get the platinum star rating for all 4 stars for all the Pokemon. That's something I'm chipping away at. Like I said, finish the story. There's not really much post game besides going and getting all the mythical Pokemon photos, trying to fill the photo decks with like the diamond star ratings for all the different photos you can get. So other than that, that's where it's gonna be time consuming. So I'll chip away, get 1, 2, 3 photos a day, and it's just long term in case there is DLC or anything like that, because I don't know what future plans are for the game. That being said, Mass Effect Legendary Edition's out. Have not started playing yet. I plan on it. That's a time consuming trilogy. That's gonna take up so much time, and I'm already playing, and I'm trying not to start too many RPGs at once, but at the same time, that is my favorite genre of video games. So, you know, still, you know, plugging away. I've been playing a little bit of MLB The Show on Game Pass for Xbox, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm not a big baseball person. If anything, I'm just doing it because it's a time filler, and yeah. But more importantly, I've been spending a lot of time just watching like movies and this and that, which is why the main topic is me talking about movies and what movies I'm gonna see. Uh, Also, before we get in the main topic, because that's it for video games, that's it for comics. I just want to say I've been getting some feedback on my last episode because I talked about Twitch and the hot tub streamers and the meta and gave my opinion. And some people honestly, genuinely think that I am wrong because I said if they weren't streaming the hot tub stuff, those 12 plus thousand people wouldn't go into your stream that you're at 3 or 4 people. And some people claim that, well, their friends are going in there and they know people who go in there. And I'm like, well, okay, but do those people go into your stream? And they're like, they pop by. I'm like, well, you have no control over your friends. You have no control over your community and viewers for in regards to what they want to watch. So even if like there's too many hypotheticals and what ifs for the whole stealing views argument to really justify anyone saying that, hot tub streamers are stealing their views. I still am sticking to my guns, sticking to my opinion that it does not affect me as a content creator. It does not affect my viewership. It does not affect the community I'm trying to build. It does not affect the content I want to create or any of that stuff. It 0% effect on me. No effect at all. So, yeah, we could agree to disagree. I've had emails about it. I've had tweets about it and comments and this and that on Facebook. I'm just saying you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. But let's face it. When I'm saying matter-of-factly it does not affect me, that's not my opinion. I know it doesn't affect me as a content creator. It does not affect any of that stuff. Do what you want. If you're a content creator, create the content you want to create. Create the content you want to share. If it's clickbait and just easy ways to get, your numbers up and this and that, that's on you. If you want to go the route where, like me, I'm not holier than thou. I'm not this savior in this, like, I'm not, I don't even consider myself, like, the best content creator. I'm sorry. I've seen what other people have with production, this and that. There's always room for improvement. But I'm going to keep doing things the way I do it. If I, like, looking at my YouTube channel, if I get 7 views, 0 views, 50, it's like some stuff works. Like, I had people reach out to me and they're like, hey, I had sub to your YouTube channel and it's not because you're just doing too much of that weird Japanese TV show shit. And I'm like, what do you mean, tokusatsu? They're like, yeah, why'd you change your content style? I'm like, I didn't change. I've evolved it. I've gotten better camera setup. I've gotten a better mic setup. But I was like, and I've modified how I present the content. But you see the shelves behind me. Like, this is, like, I love tokusatsu. I've always been a fan. It's just in recent years, it's been easier to get stuff in the US. And honestly, when I was just doing comic book stuff and the podcast and that the trailer reactions, like, there's just a gap of me not having anything to create because I was like, oh, I don't really want to do tokusatsu stuff. Like, people aren't, like, you have to be a fan to really enjoy that stuff. And I was like, you know what? Like, there are toku fans out there that watch my videos and like my content. And tokusatsu is a big part of me as a nerd. It's not just comics and movies and stuff. So you're going to get a little bit of everything. Yes, I make more toku videos than comic books because I'm getting comic books once a week. Toku stuff, there's 3 or 4 shows a week. There's a backlog of shows that I'm watching for the first time. There's toys I'm buying. So obviously I'm going to talk about them. That's just how I want to create my content. And yeah, so it's like, if you don't like toku stuff, you don't have to watch it. I put other content up. I do movie reviews. I do trailer reactions. I do the podcast. I'm going to start doing more comic book stuff. I do feel bad because I've been kind of pushing comic book content to the back burner. And I do feel bad about that because comic books are why I started this. I'm approaching in 2 months, 2 years of doing this podcast. And comic books are what started this. And the show has evolved both from quality and content into me kind of trickling in more of the different fandoms and different nerdy things I'm into. Because you could only talk about comics so much, and also the fact that I don't like to spoil things, so it kind of makes it difficult to talk about comic books without spoiling things. And I know, like, from a TV show standpoint, I haven't been covering a lot of because I'm not watching a lot of TV shows right now, honestly. And movies, I mean, the main topic of this episode is movies, which I haven't done in a while, and it's kind of piggybacking off the drive-in episode I did. But yeah, I get it. Everyone, we all create content differently. We all consume content differently. Like, the content I create is not even similar to the content that I like watch constantly, because production, finding people to do the content with, there's a pandemic, so I don't really have that luxury. Now I'm fully vaccinated, though. I'm hoping I can start doing some collaborations with some friends that we've been talking about. So yeah, there's always an evolution, and I get it. I'm not my podcast, my content's not for everybody, but I like to have like the broad spectrum of content I cover and talk about, because it's mainly stuff I'm passionate about. I'm not gonna do and create and talk about content and stuff I don't care about just for the sake of, well, that'll get me some views. Because I tried that a few months ago. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do those videos where I talk about like gaming news as it's, so be on Twitter refreshing all day because I'm not working, and I'm like, ooh, news article, that's news, click on it, let's make a video. I hated it. And no disrespect to people who do that. They're probably passionate about the news of what they're talking about. I just can't. That's just me. But that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I'm off. Let's get into something fun, because like I said, I'm fully vaccinated now. I'm going to drill that home, get vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. And the movie theaters are open now. There's a movie theater right down the street from me. They're open. And now comes with a tough decision, because I just don't want to go see a movie just to see a movie, because I miss theaters. I miss theaters a lot, honestly. Drive-in aside, because drive-in, yeah, you're getting the audio through your car, but I miss sitting in a Dolby Atmos theater, lights dimmed, big screen, surround sound, just immersed in a film. And my options, there's too many, and I don't honestly know what. Let me lower the mic a bit. I honestly don't know what to go see, because on one hand there's Spiral, which is set in the Saw universe with Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock, and I'm like, this looks good. I have been excited for that film. Then, even though Army of the Dead is going to be on Netflix, that's in theaters also, and I'm like, ooh, a nice zombie film to have fun and go see. That's appealing. Then we have Black Widow coming out, Ghostbusters. Like, the thing that's kind of make it difficult is a lot of stuff is, even though it's going to theaters, is still on HBO Max. So, like, The Conjuring 3, I would love to see it in theaters, but it's going to be on HBO Max. And so and from a timing standpoint, getting out of work, it's easier to sit on the couch and watch a movie than it is to, all right, I'm out of work, let me drive to the theater, and that's like, so it's kind of tough. There's just so many films. Like, I feel like I need to do like a March Madness bracket and let everyone else vote on what I go see, or just weigh the pros and cons and figure out what I would go see. Because there's just so many options. I mean, Space Jam doesn't really appeal to me. And because there's a lot of films. And I've missed theaters. Like, wholeheartedly, I missed going to the theater. I don't like popcorn. I'll get popcorn. I don't even like popcorn, honestly. And I don't even know how I would like handle being in a theater. I don't know if I want to be in a theater when it's packed. Like, I may have to go to like see like the early matinee, or go on a weird day like a Wednesday or like a Sunday night or something like that. I was like, I had to time it out, because now there, like, I saw the theater was open. I saw a good crowd of people there, and I was like, I don't know. Not today. I have to figure this out. This is like really tough decision, because there's a lot of movies, and I'm really happy theaters kind of like weathered the storm, so to speak, because there was a time frame last year when people were talking about, the movie theater industry and cinema industry is not going to recover. And I'm like, and well, I still stick to my guns that drive-ins should have made a resurgence and should have came back, because that would have really been just cool in general, but that didn't happen. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I don't even know. Like, I had a list of movies, and I was just like, because like if you've gone to the YouTube channel, I've done a lot of trailer reactions. So like Shang-Chi, Fast 9, like all the summer movies. Like, there's a lot of movies like Venom 2 coming out in the fall. We have options, but it's one of those things where it's like, I want to strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. I want to go see a movie as soon as possible, and I don't know which one to see, because I'm so indecisive. But I am glad theaters are opening. Theaters are opening. It gives people that sense of normalcy. Like, when's the last time, depending on where you live, you went out, like you and significant other being like, let's go see a movie tonight. Like, that's something I haven't had to say in a year, So it's like that little glint of just like, here's a morsel of what life used to be like. Here's some more fun for you. Because I also noticed Dave & Buster's was open, and man, they were packed. They had a line out the door getting in, and I'm just like, and then that's when like I had that aha moment where I was like, everything's gonna reopen in certain rates of where they're gonna, like, capacity, when, this and that, and I was like, it's almost worth waiting for a lot of the stuff, because the hype right now for things reopening is very large. And I'm just like, but movies, I'm like, I can't wait. Dave & Buster's, I could wait a few months before I go to Dave & Buster's. But movie theater, just, I need that. I've been itching to see a movie theater, especially a horror movie. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards like Spiral or The Conjuring 3. I've been waiting for that Antlers movie that was supposed to come out like beginning of last year, and it never happened. I was like, Antlers is a thing. I was like, I don't even know when that's coming out in theaters, or how. It might probably go video on demand. And I was like, yeah. I'm trying not to ramble, because like, my thoughts are all scattered on movie stuff. And yeah. But I don't know. I have a lot of decisions to make when it comes to a movie. Like, I feel like as of right now, Spiral is like number one on the list for probably what I'm going to see first. It's most likely going to be Spiral. And I do want to see Black Widow, and I'd rather go see that in theaters than play, isn't it like pay like $29.99 or something on Disney Plus for like the premium access to that movie. And I was like, I'd rather go see it in a theater, because technically 2 people can go see it in a theater for cheaper than $30. So why not? But yeah, now I'm thinking about Spiral's probably like the first one I'm going to see. I really want to see a horror film so bad. Like, I think the last movie I actually saw was a horror film, was Underwater with Kristen Stewart, which was a really good film. If you have not seen it, it's on HBO Max. Please go check out Underwater. It's phenomenal. Little Lovecraftian film inspired. It's just so good. I enjoyed it. It's a quick episode this week because honestly, I didn't have a lot to talk about, and I didn't want to stretch anything out and do any filler stuff. And mainly, I was trying to think of a topic to talk about, but honestly, the whole entire week, like, all I could think about was like movie theaters are reopening, because I got like the push notification from my movie theater app, like Regal Cinemas, and they're like, we're open. And like, literally, that's just been on my brain all week. Just like, all I'm thinking about is like, my lady, I was like, hey, movie theaters are open. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I want to watch. I was like, I gotta pick something. I need to watch a movie. I need to see something in theaters. So it's like been just on my brain, and I feel like now that I can like get it out into the podcast and put it into the universe, I'm like, okay, the weight is slightly lifted. Now it's just making that decision. And honestly, now I'm realizing it. You know what? I said Spiral so many times. That's what I'm going to go see. I'm going to see Spiral. That's the first film I'm going to see in theaters. And even though this is not live, so you're listening to a recording, thank you guys. Because you know what? Doing this podcast made me realize I'm just going to go see Spiral. But that being said, this is a quick episode this week. I got a busy work week. I'm going to be over the weekend working on some reviews. for video and audio on the A Nerd Named Mark Reviews RSS feed. I got some other content I'm working on. We're in, I don't want to say we're in the home stretch yet because we still got some time, but 77 episodes in, we're a few months away from the 2-year anniversary of the show. I'm trying my hardest because I think because of the pandemic last year, the 1-year anniversary kind of, it was lackluster. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the episodes were good, but I meant from a standpoint of like guests and this and that. Didn't really pan out the way I wanted to because all the conventions were canceled. Luckily, now that most people have Zencastr or Zoom set up all nice, and I'm already ahead of time planting seeds and contacting people because I really want to have some guests on. Especially last year, a lot of stuff got pushed to this year, and conventions this year are still scrapped. So it's like, man, like you guys are killing me right now with all this because I had so much stuff planned, and there's only so much I can do when I can't go to conventions, can't, meet all these people in person and do what I want to do with filming and interviews. So I'm doing the reaching out and bringing up Zoom and Zencastr and be like, hey, whenever your time frame, the time zone differences, scheduling and this and that, but that's why I'm trying to get everything organized early ahead of time. But with that being said, I thank you guys for checking out episode 77 of A Nerd Named Mark podcast. You can go to anchor.fm/ANNM podcast, and you can find A Nerd Named Mark podcast wherever you listen to podcasts: Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, just Pod Republic, Radio Republic, or whatever it's called. Like, you can find it basically anywhere there's a podcast now. You could also check out the A Nerd Named Mark Reviews RSS feed, which is available on all podcast streaming platforms as well. If you haven't, you can go check out the YouTube channel. Just type in A Nerd Named Mark into YouTube. You'll find the channel. I do video versions of the podcast. I have, trailer reactions, movie reviews, TV show reviews, comic book reviews, like a wide spectrum of nerdy and pop culture content, stuff that I'm a fan of, as I mentioned earlier in this episode. But that being said, I thank you guys for listening or watching. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.